And now to introduce her documentary, 13th, please welcome filmmaker Ava Duvernay.
I was just commenting backstage how wonderful it is to see so many fellow members here tonight on a rainy night to celebrate music and documentary. It means we're all really nerds. It's fantastic. The clause in our Constitution that our film springs from is the 13th Amendment. And it says that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime, shall exist in the United States. And with that simple clause, the 13th gave oppressors the opportunity to make blackness a crime. So now, over 150 years later, when we examine the mass incarceration and gross disenfranchisement of millions of Americans, the one thing that we cannot use is a blunt instrument. Every life affected by systemic oppression of poor people of color has its own narrative, a lone song to be sung. And since we cannot speak to the 2.3 million of Americans incarcerated for our film, or to the millions who suffered under Jim Crow, or to the thousands slain in extrajudicial killings, one of the ways we hear them is through the voices in our film's music. Music as identity, music as resistance, and too often music as elegy. So one of my primary goals in making 13th was to bring all of the pieces of the prison industrial complex puzzle together, both to teach and examine the insidiousness of slavery's many incarnations. And there's no better way to bring all of the pieces of this film together than with its score. The original idea to put this documentary together, I was approached by Netflix. Ooh, the boogeyman. So ridiculous.
Oh, Ava.
Approached by Netflix to ask me if there was anything I want to make. Lisa Nishimura there, who's in charge of documentary, said, I know early in your career you worked on documentary. Is there anything that you might be interested in doing? And I said, I always wanted to do something about the prison industrial complex. Fascinating subject matter. She said, great, go for it. We want to, amplify your voice. And so when I got in there, I saw that you can't really talk about the prison industrial complex as it is now without giving it context, historical context. And so it became this sprawling piece with a lot of moving parts, a lot bigger than she originally anticipated. But to have that kind of freedom there and that kind of amplification of an idea through them really led me to the places that we go in 13th. And I know that it's been transformative for many people who knew nothing about these issues. It's kind of a crash course in a certain part of American history.
Absolutely.
And so I'm grateful to them.